We're back.
Oh, God. Hey, we are back. Welcome to another episode of Twitching UpStream, which is my favorite show on Tuesdays because I don't really know anything else that comes out on Tuesdays, but this is all that I really think about is Twitching UpStream. And if you know us, welcome back. And if you don't know us, welcome. My name's Zach. This is Dylan over here. We are Some Nobodies. We're content creators. We're media makers. We, I don't know, things that rhyme with acres. We're back acres currently. But that's whatever. Don't worry about that.
Inevitable.
Yeah, that's just because Dylan's such a hard worker, breaking our backs over here. Anyway, what we do on our regular show, if you know us, on Talking UpStream, is we find our favorite creators and then we kind of chat with them and we figure out like why do they do what they do, how do they do what they do, etc. And then we just really just make ourselves very lovable and very friendly. Yeah. And then halfway through, we pitch an idea and then we kind of work on it together. So if you like that idea, there's a billion episodes of that on our YouTube channel. What we do with the ideas at the end, we didn't really know what to do. We were like, maybe we'll turn these into a podcast, maybe we'll do something else. So that's when we created this show, which is kind of like a longer form. Just we're going to take an idea and just work on it till it's down to something that can be done, maybe, or finished. So that's the point of this show.
Yeah.
And obviously, we're just trying to get ourselves up to a streaming service. So whether it's talking or twitching or Facebooking, whatever it is, as long as we get up there and Puffville, which is where Dylan's trying to live, that's it. So before we get going, obviously, I got to check out with my friendo. Dylan Terry, how are you, sir?
I'm okay. It's been a long time since we've done this show together.
Yeah, that's true.
If this is the only show that you watch with us on it, it's been a long time since you've seen us together, but we know you watch everything we've done, so.
Yeah, and I know all of you are watching right now, and you're like, wow, these guys do a lot of shows. They're constantly funny. How do they continue to do it? That's what this show is. It's us kind of brainstorming and not being funny until we come up with funnier ideas.
Yeah.
And then Michael Colby comes and swoops in and takes some of the credit.
Yeah.
That guy's a real piece of cheese.
I'm not going to endorse that comment.
Well, Some Nobodies endorses it. I can prove it on social media.
Sure.
Anyway, before we get going, I think the last thing we were working on was this really funny idea that Dylan came up with called High Octane, and it's about like this NASCAR, a NASCAR driver who puts this, I guess, cursed fuel in his car or something. Oh, he
gets drunk on like corn
moonshine.
whiskey that a witch had cursed, and he goes back in time.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
So we're going to get into that soon, but
Ricky Bobby meets Back to the Future.
Meets Blair Witch a little bit. Is it
little
scary?
bit.
Or no, it's just funny.
No, it's funny. But we can make the entire thing point of view, found footage.
Yeah, where we're going to.
It's entirely dash cam footage.
I love that. Yeah. All right, so before we get going on that, obviously, I always have some nerd news I want to talk to Dylan about because usually I text him and he doesn't respond to me unless he's saying, we're going to see each other soon. Let's chat then.
I don't like texting communication.
Yeah, no, I know.
Logistics only, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's true, but you definitely don't like doing it with me. Anyway, something I saw, a couple of new trailers came out recently. I wanted to chat with you about it. One is, so the idea of like Looper, the Omega Man, that idea of like kind of you hunting yourself. Do you think that's ever a story that could be told well?
Everybody seemed to really like Looper, and I was very lukewarm on it. Yeah. It's very tan. It's very loose with time travel rules. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just straight up. I like a lot of the concepts in Looper more than I like the actual movie.
Yeah. So there's a trailer just dropped called The Gray Man, and it stars Ryan Gosling, and I think that it has, it's got that kind of vibe to it, and which made me think like I don't know, like I do like Looper. It's not a great movie. You know,
sure.
it's a fine movie. I did not like the Will Smith one, not at all.
Gemini Man,
Yep, Aries Man, whatever that was.
Libra person,
Capricorn human. I didn't like that one, but this one looks pretty good. So I'm just curious if you happen to see that, or
I've seen the poster for it, and I saw a lot of like hype. It seems, or like poster for Ryan Gosling's new movie, Gray Man. But nothing told me it was going to be fighting himself or time travel. Is it a multiverse movie? That seems to be the new one.
I think it's a clone thing, where like it's like this. They have this one person who's mysterious, like assassin, who turns out to be the person who, whatever.
You mean Gemini Man?
Kind of like Gemini Man, yeah. Now, one thing I actually did want to talk to you about, I saw this trailer maybe 2 days ago, and we're kind of at that point in like society, pop culture society, where the copyrights are kind of running out on certain things.
Yep.
And you know, things that we've kind of grown up with, things that our parents and our grandparents have grown up with, now are now kind of in a public domain space. And I don't know if anyone's seen that, but there's this recent horror Winnie the Pooh movie the trailer dropped, and
Blood and Honey.
Yeah, I was curious if you did you happen to see that?
I haven't watched the trailer, but I saw that it dropped, and I've talked with some people, you know, it's come up in conversation about, I mean, we're entering an era, like you said, where public domain is starting to creep up on stuff from the early 1900s. We will see what happens when Steamboat Willie and Superman start drawing close.
Yeah, so Superman, I can see that happening because there's actually some Superman shows, some old black and white shows that are in public domain. Now, Disney is, because like this hit, and this was the one that people were like looking forward to for the last couple of years, because it's probably the most popular property to hit public domain. I think Disney's going to start doing a thing where they're not going to allow their characters to do that much more. I think they're kind of giving up on Pooh for some reason, but I don't think there's any way they're going to let like Mickey Mouse, which should come up pretty soon.
I mean, so the history of copyright law is really, really like litigious and really weird. Because it used to be like just very, very shortly after the author's death, the copyright would expire. The idea originally was that it would protect the creator's ability to make money from their idea. Once they're dead, it doesn't matter. And then it was extended to be like, you know, next of kin can benefit for like 25 years after the death. And then it started inching up. And every time Mickey Mouse came up for it, I think it happened twice. Congress unanimously voted to extend copyright term an extra time. So now it comes up to like 107 years after the death of the creator, which is absurd. So we'll see what happens. But
I'm pretty interested because now people can just use Winnie the Pooh. You can use that image, you can use that, and this trailer is pretty cool because it is a dark, weird, almost asylum style horror movie where it's what if these animals were just feral in the woods, and I think that's really interesting. So I'm pretty excited about that.
A little bit about, because copyright protection kind of impacts what we're doing a little bit, just like, you know, whatever. But in 1990, Disney lobbied for copyright extension because Mickey Mouse came out, and people who criticized it called it the Mickey Mouse Protection Act. Sonny Bono from California wanted the term of copyright protection to last forever. Right.
That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Talk about being out of touch. But yeah, we'll see what happens, because I think Mickey Mouse is 2024.
Yeah.
But it's only, and just like Winnie the Pooh, it is only the old-timey version from Steamboat Willie. And Winnie the Pooh, it's only the version from the original. So no red shirt, none, like nothing that's been added in newer versions.
Oh, I think the new one does have a red shirt on, but maybe not. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think that's cool. So I think we should start paying attention to what's going to end in copyright, so we can start hopping on that train.
Yeah,
and making crazy
zeitgeist.
Yeah. And the other trailer that I saw recently that I wanted to chat with you about is the new Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning, Part 1. Do you think that Mission Impossible deserves a Part 1, Part 2, unless it's going to be the end of that series?
If it's the last one, yes. Say one thing for Mission Impossible, they are all entertaining spy movies that have a very, very physical feel to them. It doesn't feel like a lot of it is generated, doesn't feel like a lot of it is green screened. Credit where credit is due. Tom Cruise does his stunts. Like,
Yeah.
I like most of these new Mission Impossible movies. I thought Fallout, which one had Henry Cavill?
Fallout.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think it does spy intrigue very well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does rogue spy intrigue. It's like, what happens when Tom Cruise goes rogue?
It's not intrigue, it's spy action. I misspoke.
It's just action. Yeah. Tom Cruise is an adrenaline junkie, but the thing is, like, that Maverick just came out, and I saw that, and that is Tom Cruise as an adrenaline junkie who is the star of his own concept. And the last movie he did before Maverick was a Mission Impossible movie. So it's pretty much like that's all he's doing anymore is just this high action. Me and Chris McQuarrie are just going to go into space and jump around. And I don't know if this thing has lasting power, because what else are you going to do?
Go into space?
How many times can you go rogue?
Hey, if they keep making it entertaining, I'll go see it. I'm gonna go see Mission Impossible in theaters.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm
100% me too.
And I'm gonna do it without. I'm talking about Jurassic Park. I'm gonna do it without being dragged to it. You're not dragging me to Jurassic Park. I am going, but
you know what I mean? It seems like I'm dragging you to Jurassic Park. Like, I'm dragging myself to Jurassic Park.
But you see, I will not be dragging myself to Mission Impossible. I will go see Mission Impossible gladly.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up Some Nerd Bodies or whatever, this Thursday, a crazy movie's coming out by one of our possible favorite directors, although
most effective director.
I cannot prove that I even like this director based on his filmography. Because I would say A History of Violence, I hate. I absolutely hate that movie. I loathe it, but I also am not a super fan of like the original content. But Crimes of the Future comes out Thursday, and not only did it have people walking out of Cannes Film Festival during the screening, it's getting some pretty bad reviews. What are you expecting out of this?
I need to be shook. Just in general. I've life is when whatever, I don't know. I need this movie to shake me. I need to be like, I need to watch this movie and go, what the, and like question why I am willing to put myself through this. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't need it to be a pleasant experience.
That's fair. You didn't get that out of the ending of Men.
I was benevolently confused.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was like, I think I know what you're doing, but I need someone to talk to the camera for 90 seconds to explain what's going on. You know what I mean? I need
100%.
No real. I don't think we're going to spoil Men. I still think people should, if you want to see something in theaters that you're probably not going to see very often, go see Men. But it needs a wrap up or some sort of info moment where someone hints at, it doesn't need to be direct, like, man, isn't that weird what happened in that village with blank when blank happened? It needs like strange lights over the sky in England, or I found these old ruins in the woods. Something to hint at the nature of what's happening in the universe of the movie.
Yeah, I agree, but I'm also not in the concept of dumb down to the audience. Okay. I'm okay with like having questions. The thing is, I need to know what question to have. And this movie with Men, it's like, what? Like, say I wanted to look it up. I wanted to figure it out. What would I even look up? Like, okay, what does the ending of Men mean? Blah, 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 blah. So, but with this one, looking back at Cronenberg's like filmography, I'm not a super fan of all of his work, but there's something about him that I'm a fan of, and I don't know why. And I think it's because he literally just makes movies that he wants, that he likes, and doesn't really care what people say. Because the movie Crash, not the Oscar-winning Crash, is one of the craziest movies I've ever seen about people licking each other's car, like scars after car accidents. History of Violence.
I like History of Violence,
dude.
Quite a bit.
I don't find many sex scenes in movies to have a point. I don't like sex scenes in movies because I don't really find a point in it. The sex scene in History of Violence is one of the most viscerally upsetting things ever. To have a 69ing situation on a hard wood spiral staircase to me
69ing
is baffling. Yes. When she's
I need to rewatch that movie.
I guess when she's in a cheerleading costume and they start like doing whatever, you know, on that wooden spiral staircase, and I'm like, no one would do this, but it's like, okay, I guess this is. I don't know. I hate that movie.
I mean, talk about effectively using sex to convey the like a bad, unrepairable state of a relationship. Like, it's not a sexy scene, it's not romantic, but it's visceral.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Like, and I don't even think like the thing, you know, I don't know why we're talking about sex scenes, but I don't want to see a passionate sex scene. I don't think that's poignant in a movie. I also don't want to see a unpassionate sex scene in a movie.
I think they have their place, but I'm also a softie, so
that's true. All you do is talk about sex. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to what we do. Let's get on to what we do with that show. What we do is we take a concept that we've created or pitch to somebody, and we try to break it down to something that can be turned into something, whether it's a podcast or a short film or just something that I put on one of my legal pads and flip the page over. I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. So, if you like us and you like what we're doing, check out our shows. PowerPoint and Showdown, weird improv show. You also have No Time to Binge, which is an award-winning weird show. I can promise you will never see another show like No Time to Binge. So yeah, go check all that stuff. And all right, so Dylan.
Yes.
Why don't you get us caught up on where we are in this story? Cool. Get done.
So I think we haven't started High Octane really beyond what we talked about on Talking Upstream. So here's our little development document. I'm going to make the text a little bigger because I thought that was going to be big enough. Let's go to 24. That seems to be a good size. So on episode 10 of season 2 of Talking Upstream, we had on Jack Barth, the original screenwriter, story by credit of yesterday. And you can go listen to that episode and find out why what I said is not entirely accurate, unfortunately. But the idea he chose was titled High Octane. The original pitch was when washed up minor league stock car racer Cale Lonehart Jr., named Pendin, drinks 120-year-old corn whiskey cursed by an Appalachian witch. Appalachian. He wakes up in the American 1920s and finally finds a niche for his driving skills as a bootlegger running moonshine during Prohibition. Can he find a way home? Will he want to? Time travel shenanigans? And we spent a little bit of the show just kind of going through Act 1, 2, and 3 because we had envisioned this kind of like, it struck us as a feature. Could potentially be a series, but we would need to figure out some sort of driving beyond just getting home because obviously he's going to try to get back to his time at some point. But we're not going to worry about that yet. So yeah, what we had written out, he likes the past, but has to keep drinking the whiskey to stay there. Does he invent NASCAR? Does he ever improve his driving skills? Because he's washed up and he's not very good, which is why he got drunk on the whiskey. We had Act 1. He's stuck. He accepts his situation pretty easily. Appalachia isn't that different in the 1920s versus the 2020s. Gets a job at a speakeasy, gets wrapped up into being a driver. Turns out he's very good at it, which is weird for this era. Act 2, prohibitionists avoiding the Pinkerton men, avoiding time traveling groups. Maybe someone finds out that he broke the time-space continuum. They're coming after him. Might be a good draw if we wanted to turn this into a series. I don't know if we need to do that. Might be too much. This is a pretty simple concept, I think, as far as time travel goes. Main character's not so bright. Modern everyday knowledge is still leaps and bounds above 1920s Appalachia, so he does all right for himself. And in Act 3, maybe there's a big race. Maybe there's a big product run. Does he stay in the past? We don't know. We didn't figure that out, and that's where we are.
Cool. Okay, so we're saying that this is probably a feature length. At least we're going to try to build the story out to be as such. Okay, so we got this 3-act structure here. So one thing that we have been learning recently, at least by some of our guest on Talking Upstream is that you should definitely know your ending and know your beginning. And that's like what you should really figure out first, and then kind of move on with your character development. And then you can kind of just figure out some stuff later on, depending on what you like. So we know kind of what the beginning is. We have this washed up, race car driver. Now I'm assuming that he's washed up, which means things aren't going very well for him.
Yeah.
And that means probably failed relationships, also probably sponsorship failures, possibly has like a sponsorship that's pretty embarrassing, but just kind of needs it to keep in the game.
Maybe he has like a local contact who's runs like a like a legacy business in town, and when he goes back in time, he meets the ancestor.
No, I like that a lot. All right, so I'm assuming that something, there's got to be this kind of push to get them to find the corn whiskey, right? So there's got to be a pretty devastating failure, maybe 2 or 3 things bad happening at once that would push this driver into maybe like the woods or something, right? And maybe there's a little bit of like that kind of, that one scene in some movies where the person's kind of lost and they're kind of like looking around, like I guess I'm thinking of Beetlejuice, but probably something else, where they're looking around the dark and then like they don't see anything, and then they look like this way and it's like a bright light, it's like bar or something.
Yeah.
So it's like maybe it's like one of those kind of things. It's like distillery.
If it's a witch, then we can do whatever we want with it disappearing or not. Like, and when we say witch, just kind of like as more like a character trope as opposed to a literal like Appalachian mountain witch.
Yeah. So far, it's currently just like a magical being as of yet.
Played by like Jenny Lewis.
Jenny Lewis?
Yeah.
Who's Jenny Lewis?
She's a musician. She's doing she does like.
Wait.
Oh, we have a voice from off screen.
I'm not sure who that was.
She does kind of like singer-songwriter, indie, alternative country, like kind of old school. Like,
wait, is that Andy Samberg's wife?
If so, good for him.
No, it's Julie Newman or something.
Oh.
I can't hear you.
I can't either. No, Jenny, she's very good. She's kind of up and coming. She's part of the kind of like retro country resurrection that's going on right now, along with like Orville Peck and that sort of thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, and they're an Appalachian.
She's an Appalachian mountain witch.
All right, I'm into that. Cool. Okay, so now we also have now who do you see as Cole Lonehart? Cale
Lonehart Jr.
Cale Lonehart Jr.
I mean, I'm trying to stay away from anything Talladega Nights, so John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell, none of those. But having like a young charismatic guy, or woman, or person, I mean, whatever, I default to that just by my own identification. But
sure.
Now, I mean, depending on how comedic we want to go.
I mean, we also gotta really like this person in like the 1900s.
We want them to be believably pathetic, but also lovable.
It's like Michael Cera.
I think Michael Cera's. I think Michael Cera might have too much baggage.
Oh, really?
Not baggage is in like characters he has previously played.
Oh.
Only because you see Michael Cera and you expect. I don't know. I wouldn't expect Michael Cera as like a southern race car driver.
I don't mind it though. All right, but who do you see?
Bo Burnham.
Okay.
I don't know. Like he can do dramatic.
Yeah.
He does comedy. He can do accents.
All right.
And I don't know. Yeah.
Now, how old is he?
30s.
All right, so that's fine.
He's not born 2 months before I was.
So like 45, 40, 46. All right, that's good.
Much more successful.
Because it's kind of like that's like the age where like most professional athletes are kind of on like their scaled down a little bit. So I think that's cool. And then this will make it kind of like a weird indie comedy now.
Average NASCAR driver age. I'm just checking. I'm just looking to see how old is the average NASCAR. Whoa, 39. So he's a youngin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe he's the
27 to 39. Yeah.
All right. So maybe he's one of those that kind of started out super hot and like won a bunch and is on like just such a losing dip streak. So it's not so much that like they're at the end of their career, they're just in like a lull, but like a real low lull. I like them losing a sponsorship and gaining like an embarrassing sponsorship. I think that's funny, but maybe overdone now. They probably
what if it's something like it's a stock car race, so they're gasoline powered vehicles, and he gets a sponsorship from like a solar panel company.
I like it. Yeah. It's like, oh geez. It's like, this is anti fuel, fossil fuel. I need the money, man.
Solar or wind power, one of those two.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just a protest. It's a protest group that gets enough money.
It's like Greenpeace.
Yeah, it's like, look,
it's like a Greenpeace like splinter faction.
They're doing a new guerrilla style of protesting, which is investing into it.
Eco-terrorism.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we're gonna spend the first. Do you think the first whole act is setting this character up and then getting to the past, or do you think that's like that first 10-minute mark thing?
I think it gets to the past in the 20-minute mark.
All right, cool. So we learn who this character is somehow. We're probably going to have that cliche montage of them either as soon as the first failure happens. So maybe somebody is dumping exposition on them, or they're watching old highlight reels themselves, or
I mean, it could be like he's in a bar. It's clearly the morning. Sponsor / manager or agent or whatever shows up and is like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be racing." Points to the TV and it's like the race is starting. He's like, "Why?" It's like, "Well, because you're good at it." "Not anymore. I'm not." Get out, and then somehow forces him out there, and it turns out very badly.
Yeah,
because he's been drinking.
Yeah, I like that.
Does he have an alcohol problem?
Well, he's going to be getting one.
Okay.
He just has like an escapism problem. Like they're just having a hard time. And they're crutching on a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So I also like, okay, so I like that scene, and then that goes badly for them, and afterwards the same person, sponsor, manager, whatever, comes up and it's like, they want to talk to you right now, like the money people, the bank, whatever, the sponsor, whoever they are. Mm-hmm. Now you're using sponsor as like a substance abuse sponsyer. Oh, you're
monetary sponsor.
Okay, cool.
All but right. Is also his agent, or like what? Do you have agents as a NASCAR? I don't know.
Well, of course.
I imagine you probably would. Manager, yeah.
Manager
finds MC
handler.
Drinking. Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so I like that. Like I said, I like that opening scene.
Yeah.
So it goes really bad. He probably wrecks his car. And
yeah,
that thing where like he wrecks his car by getting lapped by like the next hot, driver. So it's like you're potentially taking out like the hottest driver just because you want to slug around this court. What are they called? Track pitch. Is it a car pitch? So then it's like, okay, you got to talk to, look, this is the last sponsor, blah, blah. They're like, we're pulling the money from you. You had your years. We don't know what's happening. You're really out of it now, blah, blah. So then we have that scene where he probably goes home to partner, relationship, whatever. And they're probably just like so fed up with him that they're like throwing his stuff outside or whatever, just obviously breaking up with him. So he opens up like his garage and he has like his favorite old time car, right? Sure. The one he's been working on with his dad. Whatever.
Yeah, it's like a Ford, like, so it's an old American car.
Yeah, but I like it being old enough that when he goes into the past, maybe he has the car, so they're like,
he sees the car driving by and immediately he's like, I gotta get that. That's my car. It's like, well, no, it's not. I like that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when has a couple of drinks, or whatever. I don't want him drinking and driving though. That seems stupid.
Well, he already has at the beginning of the movie at the race.
All right.
But I think he goes to the bar. Like he packs up his stuff in the project car, and he goes back to the bar because it's like, or does he go to his sponsor's business?
Well, I think that we should have him go into a couple places because I like him maybe begging somebody for something and being turned down. I like him maybe going to a bar and then being kicked out because they're like, look, I don't know what's up with you, but you shouldn't be drinking. You
They
know?
don't let him in because his buddy told them not to.
Yeah.
And they're like, we saw you racing earlier, man. We're not going to be a party to that. Like,
yeah. So he gets turned out of a bar, and that's when he kind of does that thing where he's just driving, doesn't really know where he's going. He's just crying, you know, he's like wiping his eyes with his flannel. And, you know, and you kind of just get the feeling that they just want to kind of disappear. And they turn down a gravel road, you know, and just head down there for a long time. And that's when maybe like so I guess the scene that I'm seeing, and you can probably help me make this not tropey, is, you know, he's having a hard time seeing, he's crying, maybe he's having like memory flashes or whatever, and then like boom, deer, but he doesn't hit it. He just like slams on his brakes, you know, almost crashes, but doesn't. You know,
some of his driving skills.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, cool. He's still got it. And then he's like, oh. And that's when he looks up and he sees this distillery that he has not seen on this random road. And, you know, he's kind of shook. And he's like, I shouldn't be driving. I just need a GD drink. And he goes in there. And now, I guess what we have to figure out is why this, because I'm assuming that, okay, so either the witch does this for his benefit, for his verbiage, or for a bad reason.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming, I guess like through conversation, he probably does that thing where it's like, things were, you know, maybe there's like old, like an old newspaper or something, or there's like old...
I mean, it's Appalachia. The distillery's probably been around since Prohibition.
I know, but for some reason,
what are you thinking?
Like an old cobwebbed up like Bennigan's, but like one from like the 1800s, so like, you know, not 1901, like the very first one.
Side note: if you want a real trip, look up the international locations for Bennigan's.
There's still Bennigan's out there?
Oh yeah, many of them worldwide. Anyway,
that's gross.
Nacho Towers or whatever.
Yeah,
I've never been. I don't know.
No, you get the Monte Cristo over at Bennigan's, which is that deep fried
ham. I know,
ham and jelly sandwich or turkey and jelly sandwich. Okay, so I like the idea of them having like that kind of old Appalachian like bar kind of feel, but it has like old memorabilia, and it's like, wait, you're into old race car stuff? You know, it's like, why wouldn't I be? That's what we do back here. And it's like, hey, I've been making this whiskey since blah, blah, blah. And maybe he kind of has like a couple drinks and is like, I don't know if he should see something that is like, man, I bet it was a lot easier back then, you know, without the rules, without the drug tests, without the sponsorships. You just got out there and drove.
I mean, what if he does get drunk on it and somehow she says something that pisses him off and he storms off? And then while he's driving, he drives through time or something.
Like she gave it to him not on purpose?
She didn't give it to him with the initial intent of making him go through time, but he says something and she's like, oh yeah? Does her...
See, I like that idea, but I like that being like, oh yeah? How about one more on the house before you get out of here?
Okay.
And then she like reaches down like this hatch in the ground and pulls out like this like gourd that like, you know, opens on the top. It's like, you know, it's like, here, have this. This is a 5th generation, whatever, something. I don't care. You know, I do like him getting drunk enough to make her angry. And I do like, you know, her spitefully doing that. And him being like, you know, you're lucky because back in these days, like, and he's pointing to something on the wall. It's like, you wouldn't be allowed to talk to someone like me like that. And then something, you know.
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
Oh, I would assume so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, he's like, it's comedic, but he's Yeah, I don't think he's a good guy.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I wasn't picking up any good vibes off him.
Okay. No, that's fine.
I don't like Bo Burnham.
Oh, okay.
I'm kidding. So that way, then he leaves, and say like it's something outside, not raining, but like something where he really can't see where he's going.
He thinks he suddenly realizes I might be drunker than I thought I was, and pulls over on the side of the road to sleep.
Yep. And then he wakes up and he's on that gravel road, obviously, and then he sees like an old car go past him, but obviously it's brand new, but whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know. I don't know how to reveal.
Just horse and buggy goes past him. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's like, shit. I drove to Lancaster last night.
Yeah, I drove. Wow. Wait, why am I in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's like a traffic jam of just horse and buggies, and they're just staring at his car, and people are like, wow, what is that?
Why is that car in such disrepair? Well, it's a project car. Remember, this is an old car of his.
Yeah, I know, but maybe they don't even know what cars are. Like, because
sure.
It's what, 1900?
1920 something.
Okay, so like the Model T was out and stuff, right? When were cars?
Oh, made? Yeah.
Cars?
Prohibition ended in 1933.
Oh yeah, so like
cars in 1933. Oh yeah, we got some cool ones.
For some reason, I was thinking 1900s. But yeah, 1920s. That makes sense.
I mean, it is 1900s. Hold on, let me put up a picture of these.
I meant like 1903 or something.
I know. Let me put up a picture of what these cars look like.
Oh yeah.
So some real style.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. So that's what he has one of those, but it's like real shitty, But like obviously to us now, it'd be like, wow, it's a cool old car. But to them, it's like, what happened to your car?
What happened to your car? Sir, are you okay?
Sir? Sir? All right. So then he wakes up and he's like, oh God, it's probably some Ren Fair or something around here.
Oh, he wakes up and like an Amish person is knocking on the side of the window. It's like, sir, are you okay?
He's not even Amish. He just thinks they are. Because they're in a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, well, oh God, I'm in. How the hell did I get to Lancaster? I thought I was in Kentucky? Tennessee? North Carolina, probably, right?
Yeah, probably North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina.
Virginia.
I think North Carolina's a pretty hot spot for NASCAR stuffing, and obviously it's pretty popping in the Appalachian.
See, Appalachia bootleggers. Let's see what the internet has to say. Let's see. According to the St. Leo University Library.
Oh, so top tier credentials.
History and Politics 301 career prep. Moonshiners and Prohibitionists: The Battle Over Alcohol in Southern Appalachia by Bruce Stewart. Let's see. Western North Carolina.
Perfect. All right.
Perfect. I got a sister out there.
Yeah, you do. And that's where my dad lives. Wait, is your sister my dad?
That's a story we'll pitch on Talking UpStream.
Get on the stream right now. All right. So he wakes up and he thinks that he's obviously around Lancaster, which is just a gag. And so you think this is around the 20-minute mark, right?
Yeah.
Now, normally what do we try to get to by the end of Act 1, just so we kind of know what mini ending we're getting to?
Well, let's look up this beat sheet that I have written out. Let's see. I'm not going to put it on screen. Plot point 1: the true beginning of the story and a moment of conflict pushing into Act 2. Introduce a supporting character. So the sponsor's ancestor, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Or his ancestor.
Or his ancestor, if we want to go that route. But we hit plot point 1, which leads into the pinch, which the pinch is focused on the central conflict and ushers the story forward. So it would be him getting to town, whatever town he's from, and realizing this is 1920s time.
Okay, which means that we have to get to a point where his driving skills are shown off, right? Because there has to be a reason of him being a driver is going to pay off or something. So I think that maybe he goes back to his house and it's obviously like nowhere near what it was.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And he's just on like the side of the road or whatever, and maybe that's kind of when his grandfather. All right, so if he's 30 something now, that means he was born what, in like
1990. If we're setting
All
in
right.
2022, then or 2020s, the 90s.
All right, cool. So so let's say like 93, 92. That means that his if we're going father generations for whatever reason, then his dad would be
It would be great grandfather.
right, because his dad would have been born like in the 60s, right?
Yep. Grandpa
60s,
grandpa would have
70s.
served in World War II probably.
All right,
if
cool.
they're older. So
Yeah.
great grandpa.
So we'll say,
and they'd be old enough to be a bootlegger.
Yeah. So let's just say that's kind of what I was getting to, was that like where he goes to his house, which was maybe his dad's house, but he moved to like a mansion because he got rich. He goes back to his dad's house because his house isn't there.
Yeah.
Doesn't understand it. Goes to his dad's house, which isn't very far away, and it's also not there. But he's kind of just sitting at the like on the side of the road or in a field or something in his car, and that's when maybe his great grandfather goes there to actually settle the house.
Okay. The property, maybe the property is changing hands, maybe.
Yeah. Or maybe like they're just starting to build this house or whatever, and he's like, blah blah blah, and that's when he finds out that I don't know how to get to this. I don't know how to make this bridge yet, but I like there being a thing where the grandfather's or great grandfather's like, look, I really gotta get this house done, but I have so much moonshine, that I gotta deliver, and only a small amount of time to get it done. Because I like there being a reason that his driving skills come into play.
Oh yeah.
And,
well, we had in the original idea for Act 1, which we'll move into Act 2. He gets a job at a speakeasy because he doesn't know how to do anything except drive and like customer service. And he's like, I can pour drinks, I can play piano. Maybe he has some other skill that he's let kind of like fall off because he's been driving. He used to play piano, and it's like, boy like you play piano? And he's like, watch. And he plays some like, we can do a little bit of a time travel gag where he plays Piano Man. And everybody fucking loves it.
Yeah. He plays Beatles songs. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. And then we have a little like in tribute to Jack Barth at the end of the movie.
Yeah, see?
Okay. He meets his great grandfather. I'm getting these written down so we don't forget, because we had a discussion earlier today about writing your ideas down so you don't forget them. Who doesn't recognize him but likes him and points him in the direction of a whatever a restaurant was covering as to be a speakeasy, for work and board.
Yeah.
He gets a job serving and playing piano, contemporary songs he claims he made up.
Or he has like a weird like instrument in his car, like something that hasn't been invented yet.
I mean, he could be a banjo player. It fits in perfect with this setting.
Yeah. All right, cool. So he's got a banjo in his car, and they're like, look, he's like, I guess I can play the banjo. And they're like, what's a banjo?
What's that style you're playing there? Yeah. And it's like, well, it's called clawhammer.
If I knew any banjo, okay.
Actually, wait, hold on.
Wait, do you have a banjo?
Wait a minute. Is this Dylan taking any excuse to play music on stream? Screwed up at the end there, but hey, only 3 people are watching.
Currently.
Well, 4, because Zach, yeah.
Wait till later.
Nobody's left yet.
That's true. No, but I like they were like he starts playing a banjo and then he calls like, "Hey, hey, Mr. Mumford, get a load of this."
I like it. I think we should try and steer away from Back to the Future because we're already doing car-based time travel.
No, I was just
I like it though.
I don't even like it.
It's a good joke.
It's literally the only banjo thing that I could think of.
It's a good joke.
I think you had a like off that one. Good job.
Oh my god.
Should play more banjo.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next?
So he got the job serving and playing piano, music, and stuff like that. Somehow he needs to get roped. He needs to pick up on the fact that there's a moonshining operation. Across the time he works there, he keeps trying to find out why he time traveled. He also notices the place is actually a speakeasy. Maybe he works. He's like trustworthy enough, so they have him deliver to the back room, and the back room has them serving liquor.
Yeah, or so I know that like, especially in these times, there was like a your general store or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know they were doing like a lot of mining and stuff through the Appalachian as well.
Yeah.
So say that instead of a restaurant, if it's like a general store or the country store or whatever.
I like that.
And that's why he's delivering goods to people already. And he's like, hey, I could do more. And they go, damn, you're the fastest damn deliverer we've ever had over here. And he's like, whatever. And they're like, well, we only have like one more thing to deliver, but I don't know if you want to get into this.
I like the idea that they have him, like, they eventually trust him enough to be like, hey, listen, if you want to make a little extra money, we do operate. You don't seem like the government type, but we operate a kind of, side business. Like, what's that? Because he knows what bootlegging is. He is 100% aware. And he's like, and they tell him, he's like, well, we have a little underground distillery running. He goes, absolutely, I'm 100% in. What do you need?
Okay, so wait, what if we? Okay, so in every time travel movie, I think the person wants to get back to the normal time, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if we just kind of cancel that out? Like, what if for some reason he knows once he realizes he's in the past, he's like, I'm just gonna stay. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna make money.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. I think we get to that eventually.
Yeah.
I think this initial part is him just kind of getting his feet under him because he's like,
oh, okay,
I have no idea why I'm here or what brought me here. So but I have to pay my way or else I'm going to die of starvation. Like, or an infected tooth. Like,
so, yeah, I guess at first he like maybe just runs out of gas, right? And he goes to like the gas station.
Oh, yeah.
And, he's got like credit cards and they're like, son, what are you doing?
He has cash, but it's all cash from like the 2020s, and they're like,
it's like, why is this bill orange?
What is this? Why is this like made out of fabric?
Why is this face so big?
Yeah. And then so when he can't buy his way anywhere, that's when he goes to his family's property, runs into his great grandfather, who's like, hey, you seem like a nice guy. You're down on hard times. Like, there's a general store looking and you need to work. They'll do your room and board until you get your feet under you. And he's like, I guess that's just what I need right now. And then the story progresses.
Like I like that. And he can also like even sell some of the stuff that he has in his car just to get some quick, some quick money or whatever. Yeah. And maybe that's how one interaction goes. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Also, at some point, he has to go back in every single time travel movie. They always go back to where they found the person. So he's got to go back to the distillery, right? Or whatever that place was. And I'm assuming that the exact same person is working there.
Yeah. It's exactly the same as it was.
Yeah, exactly the same. And they know, they know him. Like there's some kind of fourth dimensional being. And they go, oh, you were here the other night. And it's like, oh, so you do know me.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. No. That's in character as the witch. Where it's like, oh, you do know me. Yeah, you were here just like a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you were kind of rude to me.
What's a few weeks ago here? And she's like, listen, time's a point of view. Time is a perspective. I'm not going to get into it.
Why'd you use weeks?
Because for me, it's been a couple weeks. For you, it's been a couple weeks. I don't know.
No, so weeks are the same. Okay, so it's not really a perspective thing. Okay,
I mean, we might have the same perspective for a little bit.
Yeah, but boy, is it gonna veer. All right,
Yeah.
so I don't know when that scene is gonna pop into there. But so what do you think the pinch for like the big turn? What's the turn gotta be?
Oh, I think he gets drawn into being a driver, and I think he really likes it.
Yeah.
And then I think he has an encounter with the law.
When did NASCAR start?
NASCAR founded in 1948 in Florida.
Okay, cool. All right, so all right. So if NASCAR was founded in 48, that means there was most likely underground, circuit racing, which means there was also some real dirty racing for a while. So I like him being on the forefront of inventing NASCAR, right?
So apparently, according to Wikipedia, in the 1920s, Daytona Beach was the premier location for breaking land speed records. In Daytona Beach for some reason. And then it kind of became a stock car racing course. After bootleggers modified their cars and wound up in Florida to avoid the cops.
Cool. Yeah. So we can probably even follow roughly that same plot line, which is,
Yeah.
he's running, he's bootlegging and things are going good. He's making money. And then he gets in a couple problems with the law, right?
Yeah. He loves it, but then the law intervenes.
Yeah.
And we see some violence.
So, and then we get to like the one night where he's making like the big delivery, right? Which is like,
Yeah.
I can't keep making these small time deliveries. We got to do this thing and blah, blah. So I'm going to make one big delivery.
Yeah.
But it's big enough where most likely the cops will just kill him or something. I don't know how cops work back then.
I mean, sounds like you're kind of pitching it similar to how cops operate now.
Yeah.
So they probably did more back then instead of,
Yeah, no body cam. So they probably just beat the shit out of people and can't
Yep.
kill them. So that's fine. So he doesn't want to get murdered.
Yeah.
So and he has enough. And that's like right when, because Prohibition is what, the early 30s?
Yeah, up through the 30s. And then they kept doing it into the Depression because people wanted cheap tax-free alcohol.
Yeah. So they're probably running cheap alcohol before then anyway.
Yeah.
Because why not? So that's how we get him down to Florida.
I think so.
Where he sees like the spawning of stock car racing, right?
Yeah.
All right. So
where he influences the beginning of stock car races. Yeah.
All right. Now, what are we trying to get to here?
Or like maybe he gets wrapped up in like because bootleggers kind of interacting with each other and they're like, you're really good at that. Let's do a race. And he goes, hell yeah, I'll race you. And they do a race. And it's like, I want to race you. It's like, well, hold on. I can't race everybody in sequence. Okay. And you see the light bulb moment where he goes, listen, okay, we're all going to race at the same time. We're going to find a track and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I also like is there a joke? Okay, so like when people do street racing, sometimes it's like a pink slip racing, which is like if you win, you just win the car.
Yeah.
So what if he organizes like the first like 30 car race, all pink slips, and when he wins, he just has like 30 cars all of a sudden. Yeah, and then it becomes like a greasy car dealer. No,
I like the foundation of that in that's how he wins people's allegiance.
Yeah.
Where he's like, we race for keeps. And
yeah.
the over arrogant person is like, keeps for what? All of them. It's like, I'm not racing you for my car. All right, someone will. And then he wins and then he's like, listen, you can have it. Or something like that.
Yeah. And then he has like, all right, let's have like a team. Let's get a team of people together. Yeah. I also kind of like the idea of somebody coming to him and be like, hey, son, I really like what you're doing here. I like how you drive. What if I gave you money and you put my company's logo on the outside of your car? I know this is a crazy idea here, but I think with your...
What if he recommends it to them? He's like, listen, you pay me a little bit. I'll tell everybody I drive to buy their nails from so-and-so's general store.
Yeah, so he invents kind of sponsorships.
Yeah.
I like that. And I like that like
being responsible for a lot of stuff.
And I like him kind of just traveling the same path where he gets into like a couple car accidents, gets in trouble with the law, and the sponsors are like, I think we're gonna take our name off here. You're kind of doing worse stuff for us, so we would like our money back, please.
At some point, we do need a reversal. He needs to. I think having a good part of him be like really enjoying it and being really good at it.
Yeah.
But then I think something needs to happen where it gets taken away, and maybe he does get overconfident about dealing with the cops.
All right, cool. I like that. Okay, so I think that's a good place to stop right here because we're going to have to figure out the structure of what we got going on.
Yeah.
So what we're going to try to get done with next week's episode is we're going to take kind of the information that we have, figure out using Dylan's bullet points where they kind of go, and then try to define where the end of our Act 1 is going to be. So if you have any suggestions, if you have any comments, if you like where the story is going, please throw it in the comment section. Let us know what you think. We would definitely appreciate it. Feel free to rate and review us and all the other jams because we like feeling liked. So that's cool. What else? I don't know, man. Like, if you know us, you know what we do. Yeah. PowerPoint Showdown, No Time to Binge. Obviously, Talking UpStream's ramping up. We have a very, very cool interview tomorrow, which is going to come out in a couple weeks, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's one that I've been very, very excited about for a very long time. So we're getting some amazing people on Talking UpStream. So please go check out those episodes. I think the last one to drop was, I know Jack Barth is out.
I think it was Nikki Endress.
Nikki Andres, yes. Awesome episode. Great person.
But
yeah, all the stuff. Silicon Angels,
Oh, no, it was Cedric Hill. Nikki Endress.
Oh, that was last one. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. No,
Nikki Endress is coming, yeah.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah.
No, it's Cedric Hill.
Yep, Mr. Hill. Noisy. What a great movie. Okay, Dylan, Terry, anything you want to say? Any advice you have? Any comments?
I don't know. Just tell the people you love that you love them.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Find somebody I love and love
this week.
Yeah, find somebody I love and love the shit out of them. Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, guys. He's been Dylan. I've been Zach. But you've been great. Have a great day, everybody. Drink some water.
See you guys.
Bye.